Well, good afternoon. Steve Prather here. Welcome to Silver Wing Hunting. Hey, as I have been telling you in some of the other videos, I am in the process of, call it crazy, of building my own hunting preserve. I talked about pheasant, quail, wild turkey, as far as birds. Did I mention ducks? I didn't mention ducks. Well, this is pretty cool. Discovered on my neighbor's, right on our property line on my neighbor's side, a cool little pond which needs a lot of work. It is a wet weather pond, so in the wintertime it fills up, and in the summertime it dries up for the most part. Now this spring was a really wet winter and it was really full, but then this summer was an exceptionally dry summer in the early part, spring and summer. But anyway, it gets fish in it. And I'll show you something in a second, that if it doesn't go completely dry, I'm sure some of the better fish live, and then it fills back up and they go. Because I fished in it this fall as it was starting to go down, and I caught crappie and brim and bass. All right, so I am going to stay under the cover of the tractor where I can stay relatively dry. But this is the pond. Now this is the pond dry, and it's still probably still about 2 to 3 feet right there in the middle. There's a creek, a wet weather creek that runs through my property, and man, when it is wet weather, it is running. It looks like a river, a small river. Altogether, this thing's probably a little under a ½ acre, but there's a little bit of water in it. But somebody came in and took this section right here where the creek branched off. The creek runs, crossed that way back to the woods, but where the creek probably branched into here a little bit, right there into here, then they took in there with a bulldozer. That could have been 50 years ago for all I know, and they pushed up and created a dam. See the dam they created? And you can tell it's a dam on the other side. And this water gets about, when it's full up, it gets about probably, 8 or 10 feet deep, and then once it gets to that full point, it continues on. That no more water. It actually runs back. The creek kind of goes a little bit of a dam up there, and then the creek continues on. That's as high as it gets. So my plan is this: I've come in and cut down a whole bunch of trees. For example, cut like there and cleaned up around it. So I've got one open end on it. I've cleared those out down there, but left them on that side's pretty shaded, because I know in the hot weather, without a lot of water circulation in the summer, you don't want too much evaporation, and you want some shade for the fish. So I left those there, but took some of them out. And then the trash trees that were originally down in there, leave them for cover. This thing's full of frogs and other fish and things. But anyway, and then the other plan is, if you go down there, which I'm not going to bother filming down there and everything, but if you go down there, you can raise that little sub dam on the other end so that more water will fill in the pond before it spills over and heads back out the creek. I feel like I can make this pond probably 2 feet deeper down here than it normally is. And most importantly, I got this all cleaned up, and most importantly is, you see right there where the grass and stuff is growing there, where it's at the creek, and you can see right through the middle of the grass is not growing. It's because I was in there with my tractor. I've already cleaned up all the way back in down there where the creek runs. So what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to go in there, and I am going to dig that out, if I can, from where the creek starts way up there through the woods. You can see. Let me zoom in and see up there, and I'm going to dig that down as relatively deep. I can take it down even a couple of feet and keep working there. It may get too soggy for me to get in there, but if I can do that, I'm gonna go in there, and I'm gonna make that pond deeper now. And what that will do is that will allow it to hold more, plus raising it up a couple feet, so when it gets full it can hold more water. Then under a normal, because this is dry, it's been a dry spring, but under normal spring and summer conditions, then that part of the pond should stay a couple feet deeper and be that much bigger, because it will expand up into there, which will allow more fish to live, to make it into the winter, to, what is that, circle of life thing, and continue on. and I get some duck food out in the field or around here, and I can get some ducks called in here, then heck, man, you know, next thing you know, I've got some waterfowl, but I got another bird to put on the supper table. So now you have it. That is the duck pond. We'll see what it turns out to be. At least a little fishing pond. All right, I'm gonna get to work and get this thing started. We'll be back with you soon, showing you some progress and some more things. And so I was on the tractor a little while ago and was talking about my duck pond. So if you look at this, I'm gonna step down here. Look at this, and you compare it to the previous video. You can see where those two trees are, right there and right there. You can see how deep I've gone down. And then if you come down, I've really taken this down, because this was a high spot, and it cut this part off from that part, and that part dried up pretty quickly. So what I've done is knock that down so it will drain into that, and then I will make that spot between the trees the pretty low point, and then gradually take it down up there, and then go back and take a look at it via eyeball and be sure that there is no cutoff to where you got two pockets of water. So as that dries up, then you know this will stay wet and eventually just one pocket of water. I don't have a clue what I'm doing, but it looks good. So we'll see how that works out. Hey, good morning, folks. It's an early August morning here at the property, and I am I'll turn around and show you, as a matter of fact. Let's see. So I'm at the pond that I have been making deeper and cleaning up and raising the canopy around it, of course. And today I am going to hopefully be putting on the finishing touches. It's cleaned out, and the dirt that I had moved is back here in the back. You can see all the way back. I've made this pond actually longer. The waters, so I told you it's early August, so we'll start getting good steady winter kind of rains in about another 4 to 5 weeks. And it's amazing how quickly this creek starts flowing like a big creek or small river, and then how quickly this pond will fill up. So what I'm going to do today to finish this bad boy up is, this is, for lack of a better term, the spillway. So the creek comes through here, and it used to run straight down over and out that way. Somebody came in here a long time ago and took some dirt and pushed up, as you can see, dug around the edges and made this pond. And then when the pond fills, it continues on out the spillway. So my friend and neighbor Shane came out with his laser guide, I don't know what it's officially called, to get the depth, so we could bring the depth of the lake almost up to the tractor. You can see there in the background, which will raise it about, at full pool, raise it about 2 feet higher than it historically has been. What I'm going to do today is I am going to build up that spillway a little bit with dirt, and then pile those rocks and some other rocks back on top of it. So I'm gonna raise the spillway, not hardly much at all, but I am going to raise it just a little bit. Per the laser sighting, it doesn't need to be raised much at all to be able to get the water level in the pond up, based on the other changes that I've made. And then I'm going to put grass seed on all that piles of dirt there to keep it from eroding back into the lake. But that's the project for this morning, and at that point this pond will be done and ready to fill back up, at least for this year. We'll see how this year goes, and then we'll make changes and maybe make it deeper. We can always work on it next winter when it goes down. The idea is to have this to where in a normal pool year, this pond stays a lot more full than normal, or it has in the past 20 years or how long it's been here, and try to keep the depth at its low point more like, 8 feet in the middle, and would probably put water all the way up at least to that narrow point, I would think, and probably up these banks a good bit, which would be good. I think it helps sustain life and be obviously much more of a just aesthetically looking better and being a better water source for the animals around here. And here's a picture of the final product of the spillway. It turned out pretty good, I think, and it should accomplish the goal of getting the overall full pool up a couple of feet and also hold more water.